Today we're going to go into overcoming our fears. Okay, so with overcoming anything really, even with setting new intentions for accepting ourselves, I felt that this lesson was really, really powerful for me. When I first attended the very first workshop, when I shared with you one my days when I was very, very low, about 24 years ago. This lesson to me was like, oh my God, how is it? We focus so much on our feelings. I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling down, but where did this feeling come from? And I learned that it actually comes from our thoughts and our beliefs. Our beliefs obviously come from people who bring us up, and then those become our thoughts. And it's our feelings actually come from our thoughts. And when we have a certain thought, which then leads to a certain feeling, then that leads to our behavior. And then we don't have the freedom to be us. Or basically it's your destiny. Whatever the result of your life is, at any moment in time, we need to go back to our thoughts. What am I thinking? So I'll just take the example of a very brave lady who shared her, I think on chat last time, saying she feels she's short-tempered. And how can she either accept that? And I said, there needs to be a context around it. But I'm sure being short-tempered doesn't serve you well in life. So maybe it's a good idea to change it. So how do you change? Because that's a behavior. And what would be your feelings? Your feeling may be, oh, I'm really frustrated with this person, or this person's acting the way I don't like. Maybe that's where your short temper comes from. I'm just guessing. So your thoughts are, oh, this person is being difficult. And then you get short tempered, and that's your feeling. And that leads to your behavior of maybe lashing out. And then you don't feel free yourself, and you've also affected another person's energy. So always let's go back to our thoughts. So whatever you are facing in your life, even if it's fears and any emotions you've got, start to become aware. What's the thought behind this? And then we have to start to change their thoughts. But before I explain how to change our thoughts, let me bring you this little experiment, which again, when I saw it, it's a book called Miracles of Water. And this Japanese author and a scientist discovered how our thoughts affect not just our body, but the environment around us. So he got lots of glasses of water and put different things on it, like you can see here, just some of the examples. Heavy metal music, you make me sick, even the name of the person who wasn't very nice, Adolf Hitler, words like thank you, love you, appreciation, I can't do it. I mean, he had thousands of words. And it was probably at some center where everybody was going, and they were looking at these glasses and they were reading what's on it. So as they were reading and thinking about it, those thoughts, the energy of the thoughts was transferred. So the top line that you can see here is, the top line is the negative words. When he looked, so basically he had water in the glasses, and then he froze it to look at the crystalline formation of the water. And every time it was a negative word, the crystalline formation didn't look nice, you can see here. And when it was a nice, loving word, the crystallized formation was beautiful. And then he took, I need to just explain the other one. So these are two jars on the right-hand side of cooked rice on the same day, filled up in these jars, sealed. One has got loving words on it, the other one's got negative words. The negative one got molded, and the positive one didn't. And where I go to my yoga center, they actually did an experiment with onions. They put 2 onions downwards into glasses of water, and one with positive words, one with negative. The one with negative was starting to die, and with positive was starting to grow. So that's the effect of our thoughts. Now, our body is also almost 80% water. So you can imagine we can actually feel weak when we are negative about ourselves, and also when we are negative about other people. Now, this is, on the left is the polluted water. Looked under the microscope, the crystalline formation was, as you can see, not very nice. The same water was preyed on. And then the right-hand side is the same water changed. Isn't that fascinating? That's how powerful our... So when we send prayers to other people, this is what happens. The energy of our thoughts reaches that person. That's how we say, you know, may God help you with the illness or whatever. It affects the person. And the same goes for when we worry. When we worry about our parents, our children, whoever, grandchildren, I often worry about them. We have to turn that worry into a prayer straight away. Because when you worry, you're also sending negative energy. So it doesn't help. It doesn't help our body, and it doesn't help the people that we want to help and serve. Okay, so once we have identified a negative thought, how do we change that negative thought into positive? Now, one thing we have to remember is not to use do not. So if we say we have been talking about accepting ourselves, or the example I gave about being short-tempered. So it's not positive to say, now I'm not going to be short-tempered anymore. Now I'm not going to eat unhealthy food. I'm not going to, I do not want to be short-tempered, are not positive. You actually have to think about a sentence that doesn't have do not. It's a sentence that this is what I want. So if you want to lose weight, for example, then you say, I'm losing weight, or I'm in the process of losing weight. I'm in the process of learning to be more confident now. If we just say, I'm not going to be underconfident anymore, that's not positive. Okay, I'm not going to feel guilty anymore. No. What could be for guilt? I'm going to approve of myself now for what I did is the only way I knew how. So those are little ways we can change. I mean, for me, guilt was one of the big things. And I started saying, I approve of myself because whatever I did that was wrong, this was the only way I knew then, forgive myself. And now, the more I approve of myself, the more, the guilt feelings will start to go because you're not feeling guilty. Also, I'm now present, and positive statements are always personal. We can't say, oh, that person who didn't treat me very well is now going to treat me so well. We can't change other people. We can say, I'm now going to accept that person as they are. Or I'm going to say something assertive to them so they can maybe change. We can only change ourselves. So I hope that this will help, especially when we talk about fears, that this will help to change those fearful thoughts into positive. But this applies to everything in life. Everything we want to change, any behavior we want to change, anything that's not working in our life, let's think about what the thought is and change it to positive. So that's something you can practice in the coming week. Now, this was the homework we did last week. So what I would like to do is to split you up into groups again and to share any breakthroughs which you had from last week, anything that was challenging that you felt didn't work. And also, because we're going to talk about fears, what are the fears that, what are things you want to do in your life that you have fears? So what can you not do because of your fears? Maybe you want to be a speaker. Maybe you want to do something in your life that you're not doing. What is it, and what is your fear around it? Let's understand some truths about fear. So one of the truth about fear, which again was quite eye-opening for me, is that 95% of our fears are false expectations that appear real to us. 95. There's only about 5% of fears that are real. Yes, somebody is going to fall sick, somebody may pass away. We don't know if we could end up in an accident, we don't know. But a lot of our, what if this happens? What if this happens? So some people in the group talked about wanting to speak more in a group. And our thoughts are, oh, what if people laugh? What they'll judge us. Now, 95% of the times, people are not judging you. They are thinking themselves too, oh, what if somebody judged me? They are actually in their own thoughts as well. So we need to then change the thought and say, what if somebody's judging me? Okay, how can I change that? Actually, most people aren't. And if 2 people or 3 people in a big group want to judge me, it's their choice and it's their need to judge me for whatever is going on in their life. It's nothing to do with us. Have you heard, if whatever you think of me is none of my business? Because really it isn't. They need to think that way. Imagine you're somewhere and you chose this particular outfit that you want to wear. And 5 people come and say to you, oh, or they're judging you and you think they're judging you. But another 5 come and say to you, wow, you look great. Who are you going to focus on? Ultimately, we have to do what we feel comfortable in. And you may get equal. It's not normally. I think more people probably think, wow, she looks great. And a few people might judge you. But really, that's their problem. That's their issue. That's where they are at in their life. So I think in the last presentation, I talked about this journey of life. We all have a certain way we are being brought up. And whenever we act a certain way, it's the only way we know how. So really, if that's their judging, that's really how they need to be. That's fine. So we need to just start remembering that when we think about any kind of thing that is we are fearing, start asking yourself, is this false expectation appearing real to me? And write all your fears down and start canceling. Yeah, this is false. How can I change this thought? How can I change this? And you'll find you'll only be left with 1 or 2. Then you ask yourself, okay, what can I do with this? If it's real, some of the things you can't do anything about, and you just have to leave it to the universe as to, what happens in your life. And we know that whenever things happen to us, they're always for our own good anyway. So let's remember that's one of the truths. The other truth I have learned, which really, really helped me, is that everybody feels fear. We're not the only one. Nelson Mandela said, courage is not an absence of fear, but a triumph over it. The brave man is not the one who does not feel afraid, but the one who conquers his fear. So we can all overcome these fears. I used to think, because I'm afraid of something, like you guys, I was afraid of talking in a group of people as well. But when I learned that, everybody feels fear, I can still have the fear and I can still go and do and say what I want to do. I used to be so fearful of talking even to a group of 3-4 people. When I used to go and drop my children to school, not so much drop, but when I used to go and pick them up, I would wait in the car. My car was parked where I could see all the parents. And I wanted to go there and stand and chat. But I was like, what am I going to say? And when I entered one of the meeting rooms, you guys were saying the same thing. What am I going to say? What if they laugh at me? What if they judge me? And I used to sit in the car. And when they were just about to come out, I go pick them up, come home. And then what happens? You bury that low self-esteem because you get busy. You get on this treadmill of life and you get on. And for me, all that burying came out in my 40s when I couldn't do it anymore. And I was so down. And that's when as I said, I learned these things. People like Thomas Edison, who created the light bulb, how many failures did he have? But he never said, oh, I can't do this. He felt that fear of, oh, I'm not, didn't do it. And he still went and did it. And lots of people like that, who have gone and tried several times until they get it. So remember now, whenever you have a fear where, you're thinking, oh, I'm afraid, so I can't do this, just know that it's okay to have that fear and you can still go and do it anyway. I was a licensed trainer for the book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Dr. Susan Jeffers. Really good book. And I've got, in fact, quite a lot of her stuff in my book as well. So it might be worth, reading her book or my book as well. So the only way to step out of our comfort zone, comfort zone is a very a funny word. It's comfortable in the sense that we don't have to do anything to overcome that fear. Because that initial step to overcome fear is quite daunting in itself. But once you've done it, once you've jumped out and just done what you wanted to do, it feels such a freedom. I mean, like I said to you, I wasn't able to talk to even 3 people. When I learned these things and I trained to deliver, I was absolutely terrified. So what did I learn? The only way to get rid of this fear was to go and do something about it. Go out and do it. So I put myself as a speaker at one of these Mind, Body, Soul exhibitions. And I went in one of the rooms. There's talks like every 45 minutes. So I went into one of the talk and there was about 15 people there. And I thought, okay, maybe I can cope with this. But still, I was absolutely terrified. My heart was pounding, my kidney, I was dry, my mouth was, really, really dry. And again, when I joined one of the breakout rooms, you were saying you're sweating. I was all those things as well. And I really wanted to go and say to them, I can't do this. It's just too much. But I said, no, I calmed myself down. I did a bit of meditation. And I went in the room and in those days, I had to fill up the charts and write everything I wanted so I wouldn't make a mistake. And when I turned around, you know how many people there were in the room? 60 people. You can imagine my knees were knocking. I was sweating, my mouth was dry, but I started talking, okay, I had everything there. And I had said to myself, look, what I have to talk about, the people who have come here are interested because they read the topic. So I'm sure what I'm saying is of interest to them. Kept reminding myself. Anyway, I started talking, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I could see people's attention. I could see them nodding. And I thought, okay, I relaxed a bit. And at the end, my half an hour when I finished, I was like, yes, I've done it. Instead of criticizing myself. Of course, I wasn't perfect. But instead of criticizing myself, first, I celebrated and said, wow, I've done it. I've done it. And then whatever I needed to change, I can change the next time. So whatever you want to do, don't wait. Or only when I have planned it properly, then I will put myself forward. Only when I've lost weight, when I look good. No. You put your foot into it, say yes, and then you learn what you have to learn. I mean, I said yes to this Zoom training. I'm learning as I'm going along. I didn't know how to use it completely before. This is the first time actually sharing my screen before somebody else has shared the screen for me. So, we all learn as we go along. But if you don't go out there and put yourself in the spot, we don't get rid of our fears. So I hope that this enlightens you, and it will be lovely if you practice this week, and then we can share it next week when we meet again. So I think we are coming up with another. Okay. So then how do we come over our fears? I already said to you, become aware of your thoughts and your feelings and start changing them. Make them positive. Make sure your sentence doesn't have do not, I don't want to. You want to say what you want. Sometimes we tell children, don't spill. They're holding a glass of water and they're walking and we say, don't spill. But the brain hears spill and it goes, pish. But what should we say? Hold the glass straight. So we say what we want, not what we don't want. I hope that makes sense. what else do we say to ourselves when we say don't, or I don't want to put on weight. Let's start saying, oh, actually, I am losing weight. I'm doing the right things. I'm beginning to lose weight. So say what you want, not what you don't want. Okay? Now, these are called positive affirmations. You may have read about it or come across somewhere. So write this positive sentence. And if you want to be a bit artistic and you want to make it really presentable, make it colorful. That's what I used to do in my early days. And then have it in 2 or 3 places where you see it. It's like we have brain pathways in our brain. We have one pathway, which is a habit. All the time we're saying, oh, I'm not this, I'm not that, I can't do this. We have to change that. So it's going to take a little while. So the more you practice this new thought, the more the pathways get bigger and it gets easier and easier to do. And if there's any time, like those who want to speak, just say, I'm just going to go there and I'm just going to start speaking, whatever happens. And that way it gets easier and easier. The more you do it, the easier it gets. I mean, for me now, of course I have nerves when I start. And that's good because it makes you sharper. It makes you do it better. But I'm not as frightened as I used to be in my early days. So the more you do, the easier it gets. When I did my first Zoom, I think it was the Sisterhood program a few weeks ago, I was more scared than today because that was the first time I was using the Zoom and they were sharing the slides. But this time, so this is second time now, it's getting a little easier to do the Zoom presentations. And I'm learning more. And I'm sure I'm not perfect, but I will learn as I go along from your feedback, from other people, from what I notice. So this is something that you take away from today and see how you practice the whole week. Now, what I would like you to do in your breakout rooms is identify one of your, in the week, identify one of your fears. What are your thoughts around that fear you've got? And start changing your thoughts, okay? Now we'll go into another breakout session. When you overcome one of those fears, so identify one thing you want to really be able to do that you're not doing. What are your fears around that? And when you overcome it, how will you benefit? What will it do for you in your life? When we look at the why would you overcome that fear? When we have a why for something, our motivation grows. We are more motivated to then do that because now we know that A, B, C is going to happen to my life. Say you want to speak, and if you can't speak, how would that enhance you? How is that going to be your passion expressing itself? How would it make you happy? So what are the benefits of that overcoming that fear? How will your life change? How will you contribute? How will, how will it affect you? So some of the benefits I have kind of thought about are you feel happier, you'll be more relaxed, you'll be able to achieve your potential in your life purpose, you'll be able to live your life to the full, you'll have more fun because you're doing what you love doing, you'll have more energy, you'll be able to help others, you will have better health, you'll be able to speak your truth. If you want to be assertive, that's your truth. You'll be able to appreciate and be grateful for more in your life. So those are just some. Now I really love this. This is Marianne Williamson. I don't know if anybody has come across her. She's written a lot of books. And she says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, but our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light and not our darkness that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Well, actually, who are you not to be? You are the child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people will not feel insecure around you. You are meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God through us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we liberate from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So, when I talked about the jigsaw puzzle, you are the light that shines the world. Without you, you are not even helping other people. If you shine, other people can also get permission to do the same. I'll tell you a little funny story. I love dancing. And when there's music, I feel I have to move. And so you might have, all gone to one of these music parties where there's music. And if you do love, you want to get up. But if nobody else gets up, you don't get up. Well, I now have learned just to get up. So I went and started dancing and pulled one of my friends up. And then another girl came and she was dancing. And afterwards she came to me and she said, when you went, I love dancing. You gave me the courage to get up and dance. So she had fun because I did it and she could follow me. Otherwise, she wouldn't have had fun either. So with that, I will leave you with some homework again. So I hope you've written some notes in your journal. Hopefully you'll get this presentation. Keep noticing your thoughts now. When you say a negative word, you know that you are stopping yourself. That is what's stopping you doing what you want to do. So keep noticing those thoughts, notice what you're saying, and then start creating a positive affirmation. I can't, it's difficult. All those are words that you need to change and say, well, if other people have done it, I can. Maybe it will be difficult, but I will take it in small doses. I will do what I can. Things like that. Write this down, look at them every day, and praise yourself. Every time you do something, you change something in your life, say, well done. Maybe you should all raise your right hand. Raise your right hand, put it on your left shoulder, and say, well done even for attending today.
Well done.
That's right. So we need to praise ourselves and we need to congratulate ourselves. That keeps us the energy. It keeps us the motivation to keep doing more. Okay? So we will just end with a little bit of a quietness. I'll do a little different meditation. I don't know if you know about chakras. We have a chakra. We have 7 chakras. So our center is the abdomen, 2 inches below our navel and 2 inches inwards. So if you imagine this light coming from the top of your head, and if you want to close your eyes, please do. And it's coming down all the way into your abdomen, into the 2nd chakra. And anytime you're feeling worried, you're feeling too many thoughts, too much going on, you're feeling overwhelmed, bring your attention here. This will bring you to the present moment. It'll calm your mind and it'll ground you. Just focus in your abdomen. And the color of this chakra is red, bright red. So you can imagine a bright red color, energy of ball, a flower, whatever. As you breathe in, it's expanding. As you breathe out, it's contracting. Stay in your abdomen and use it throughout the day, whenever you feel you want calmness. Okay. Take a breath in and Smile out. And I hope you will be able to practice what we've talked about today. And I look forward to meeting you next week.